How are you? Good to see you. Glad you're here. So you're here to learn some music theory? Yeah. Cool. Okay, so one of my friends recommended me to you. Yeah. Okay, that's great. Yeah, it's good. This is kind of a new venture for me to be doing teaching, and it's great that my friends have been kind of helping me out with trying to get a few pupils, a few students through to me. I understand that you're basically you don't know anything about music theory. You're just kind of curious to see what it's like. Yeah, yeah. Okay, and you're interested in playing guitar. Uh huh. Yeah. All right. Cool. That's good. Good stuff. It's always nice to kind of have a chance to sort of get someone interested into music. There's a lot of musicians out there. Obviously, these days, everyone's into music, but music's a great thing. It's why I like it so much. It's like it's a universal language, really, isn't it? There's not really many people that don't like music. In fact, I don't know anyone that doesn't like music, but maybe I've just been blessed with my company. Okay, so we're going to be going through the absolute basics then. Yeah, cool. All right. Well, what I normally do with my first lesson, what I've done with my previous students, is to kind of just wing it a little bit. Now, don't worry. There's going to be a discount for this lesson anyway. You're one of my first students. As I say, I only have a sort of a couple of others. And just to get myself established, I'm giving very cheap rates at the moment, so you don't have to worry about that kind of thing, that you're not going to get the appropriate tuition for what you're paying. With the winging, anyway, what I like to do is just kind of blanket cover a handful of things to do with the basics of music theory and such, so I can get a gauge for what you understand, what you find easy to understand, and what you find a bit more difficult. And really, what I can do is note down what you find easy and what you don't, and then I can figure out a plan to work on those things. Assuming you come into future lessons and we build up on this in the future, then I can focus on weaknesses and we can work to bring everything up at the same level. And so yeah, you'll basically be covered for all the different aspects of music theory, because the thing with music is some of it is very mathematical, it's very logical, and makes a lot of sense on a logical level. So if you find that kind of thing easy, then you'll pick that up quite quick. But there's also more conceptual ideas with the writing of music. It all does make sense, and as you develop your abilities within writing music and reading music, you'll realize that it's essential for it to be done this way in order for someone else to be able to read it effectively. But when you're learning these rules, you will think at points, why is it being written like this when it can be written like this? And in a lot of cases, you can write it in a different way and it will make sense. But the idea of learning music theory is you write within the guidelines, the expected guidelines of writing music. And obviously, if everyone understands the rules the same way, then when one person writes something, the other person will understand it. And I guess it kind of comes down to the same sort of thing as if you were learning another language, for example. There's a handful of rules you'll find in other languages that don't translate to English, for example. But once you get a good grasp of the language, you realise that, you know, you start to understand that it makes sense. It just kind of clicks. And there's no one way for a language to be structured. Anyway, I'm going to stop rabbiting on now, and we can get down to actually starting with the lesson. So let's have a check. Yes, my notes. Sorry, I have quite a lot of notes in here. Okay, have I got a pen? Yes. So, okay, let's just pop your name in here. Okay, so as you say, you're keen on learning guitar, and that's a good thing for me, because I'm a guitar player more than anything else. So I'll be able to help you with that, absolutely. There is guitar tablature is completely different to standard written notation. It's much easier, it's much more instinctive to understand, so we can cover that at some point, possibly even in this lesson. We'll see how far we get with the notation and sort of basic theory, as that's sort of more really what we're here for. But yeah, I may cover the guitar tablature at some point, just to show you how sort of easy it is to read in comparison to notation, and that's just because of the layout of the way the fretboard works, and how easy it is to represent that in a drawing, effectively, in written stuff. So okay, I'm going to start with notes. Basically, that's going to be the easiest thing to get a grounding in music theory. Now, I'm going to show you this on a keyboard, just because the visual layout of a keyboard makes sense, and we'll work up from there, because a guitar fretboard is a little bit not nonsensical, but it's very bland. There's just you've just got the strings, you've just got the frets. There's no sort of visually, it's very bland all the way across. But just bear with me a sec. Let's get in close here, just so you can see the keyboard. Let's just get this out of the way. Okay. Right. Okay, how's that? Can you see that okay? Great. So we've got a keyboard here. Now, I like the representation, the visual representation, in terms of learning theory here, because we have the regular notes and we have the sharps or flats. I don't know if you've heard. Yeah, okay, so basically music is made up of 12 notes. That's it. everything to do with music is all within these 12 notes. That's it. I know, seems a bit simple, but it does the trick. So yeah, we have the 12 notes ranging from A to G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then there's the sharp notes or flat notes in between. And I cover a little bit later why they may be referred to as flats or sharps. But you can refer to certain notes in different ways. So a piano and a keyboard always starts on C, because this is in a key effectively. The way this is laid out, this is in the chord, in the key of C major specifically. So C major is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then we go back to C here. So as I say, there's 12 notes, so we have the black notes here as well, and these are the sharp notes. So we have C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, A sharp, B, and then back to C. So you can see that E to F, there's no sharp there, and B to C, there's no sharp there. So again, don't confuse yourself and get worried about why this is the case. But this is the case in the regular key of C sharp. C major. So we have all the notes that I just went through there. So we have the 12 notes, and then we start back with C. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, back to C, and then D, E, F, G, A, B, and then back to C again, and all the sharp notes in between. So yeah, these 12 notes are referred to as an octave, and then, as I say, they continue in exactly the same fashion, one octave above. So we just have the 12 notes, and those 12 notes repeat themselves continually up a keyboard. Now this is only 2 octaves. Generally on a piano or a full-size keyboard you'd have about 6 octaves. So just imagine 3 of these next to each other and you've got more or less a full keyboard. This is just a 25 key MIDI controller that I use for home production, just so I've got some keys to kind of play around with and do some chords. That's why this is smaller, so don't worry about that anyway. Also, it's a lot easier to hold this in one hand than a full-size keyboard when I'm showing you. Okay, so yeah, we've got the 12 notes, C through to C, or A through to A, however you want to view it. I'd say when looking at a keyboard, easiest thing to remember is the D in between the 2 black notes. Imagine it's a dog in a kennel, so D for dog in the kennel. That's one way. That was the first way I started remembering the keys on the keyboard. Obviously you'll just end up getting used to them in the end, so you just remember that those are B and C, and those are E and F, and you can kind of work from there. But you'll get used to the way they're laid out on a keyboard eventually, much like you'll end up getting used to the way they're laid out on a guitar as well. So right, so they're all the keys anyway. They're all the notes. Now you're probably wondering, as I say, why we would sometimes refer to notes as sharps or why we would refer to them as flats. Now this depends on the key, and this is in the key of C major. So each of these notes, all of the black keys, are just referred to as sharps, and they're effectively, a sharp is one note up, or if you want to be specific, a semitone up. So one note, including the black keys, so assuming we're going across the top here, every one key, that's a semitone. And a tone would be two notes. So going across the white keys when there's a black key in between, that would be a tone. So as you can see, when figuring out a key, here you'll be going tone, tone, semitone, because there's no black key. Tone, 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 semitone. That's the way you figure out any key. Tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. You might want to write that one down. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, as I say, tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone works for anything. So let's assume we go to the key of D major. So we have tone, tone onto the black key, because that was two notes, semitone, back down to the white key, tone, 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 black key, semitone, back to D again. So don't worry if I'm going a little bit too fast here. As I say, we're going to blanket cover a whole bunch of things to do with music theory. And this is just kind of a basic outline of the notes and the way they can be perceived. What I'll do for you, if you like how this is going, if you are interested in coming back for another lesson, I'll get you some printouts of a whole bunch of sort of visual representations of all the notes, so you can see how they can be looked at and how they can be read and written. It'll be a little bit more complex, but as I say, you'll have the printout and you can take it away and have a look at it. And if it doesn't make any sense, no worries, we'll have a chat about it. If it does make sense, then that's great. Okay, so that's how it looks on a keyboard. And as I say, I think it makes a little bit more sense than understanding the way it looks on a guitar at the same time, because all we have is the frets here. So each of the strings are tuned to a specific note, and then every one fret is one semitone, so the same as going one note on the keyboard, including the black notes. So you have all the single keys going across here, dun, 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 and then you've got the same on a guitar. That's a semitone. So one key, one semitone, one fret, one semitone. So as I say, each of the strings are tuned to a specific note. So in the case of the guitar, it's E, A, D, G, B, and E. Again, don't have to worry about remembering any of this kind of stuff. But yeah, of course, if you want to make some notes, then by all means go for it. I'll get you some printouts and that kind of stuff for this. So yeah, again, guitar works in the same way as the keyboard, as all music does. There's 12 notes, and in the case of the guitar, what you'll see is there's the 12 note marker here. So this is the octave on one string. So the open string is E, and then the 12th fret, is E as well. So hopefully you should be able to hear there that it's the same note, but one octave higher, and the same with the high E string. So this is another E string. So you have, that was all E. that was all the exact same note. E, 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 E. So open E, 12th fret E, high string E, 12th fret, high string E. Okay, so that's a quick understanding of sort of the 12 notes on a guitar and the 12 notes on a keyboard. Okay, where did I put my pen? Over here. Okay, so I'm just going to pop down what we've covered here just quickly. So it's on the piano and on guitar. Sorry, I was just checking some notes here. Okay. All right. Okay, so I think I've got a yes, I've got a little leaflet thing here. Actually, this will save me drawing them out. No, okay, I'll tell you what. I'll draw you out some stuff. So let's just do some basic notation. So I'll show you what a music stave looks like. I'll draw out the full thing, and then I'll show you through all the different parts and what they mean. So let's have a look here. If we just split this into, yeah, that'll work. Okay. So let's fill this in as okay. So I've drawn out some very basic notation here. This is going to look incredibly crude to you. But, okay, so what we have here is this symbol here, this thing I've drawn here. This is called the treble clef or the G clef. So this stave generally represents the higher up notes in a composition, or anything above kind of the middle point. So imagine this bottom line is kind of the middle point of a keyboard or a piano rather, and then anything that would be drawn in what's called a bass clef would be kind of below this area. And quite often in compositions, especially on piano, you would have the bass clef directly below the treble clef drawn out. So this is some very basic notation. I've started with regular notes, or just like a standard one beat note. These notes that I've drawn here are referred to as crotchets. So a crotchet is one beat, and as you can see, there's 4 of them in between the lines here. So we've got a whole bar here, basically. We have 1 bar and we have 4 beats within the bar. And that's also what this means here, this 4/4. This is referred to as the time signature. Yeah, cool, if you want to write that down. Yeah. So the time signature dictates the rhythm of a piece of music. So in the case here, 4/4 being the time signature, we have 4 bars of 4, basically, and there it can come across as somewhat ambiguous when you're looking at time signatures from time to time, because I could write 8/8, and that would sort of mean the same thing, but it would be interpreted as somewhat of a faster song, a song that has more notes quickly in a bar, that kind of thing. So there's somewhat a level of interpretation, but it's something that you'll get used to. So we have 4 beats, basically, per 4 bar. If I put something like, if it was 3/4, then we would only have 3 notes per bar, effectively. But anyway, we'll go on to more complex time signatures eventually, and I'll describe them later. But 4/4 basically means is your standard kind of. Lots of music uses 4/4. It's a very simple. It's the most common time signature. So just 4 beats per bar, and 4 crotchet beats per bar, basically. So dance music, that constant 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, just that constant driving rhythm is what you'll get from a whole wide variety of music, not just club music, rock music, even jazz music, everything. This is just a constant 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 is the rhythm for so much music. But yeah, we'll cover them later anyway. So these are, as I say, these are crotchets. So as it's in a time signature of 4/4, we have the 4 beats. They will fill a bar. So that is a full bar, and then it finishes, and then we start again. You'll also notice the lines going up denote the pitch of the note. So we are starting, let me just have a quick look here. That's G. So that second line, the second line here will be G. My advice, the easiest way to remember the notes on a G clef is yeah, if you can see that. Basically, the gaps. Sorry, excuse me. The gaps going up from bottom to top. Just remember it as face. So that first gap is F. The next gap is A. Next gap is C. Next gap is E. So after that first gap, you've got the first line, and that's a G. So we have G. We have A, B, C, D, E, F, blah, 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 blah. So all of the lines and gaps on standard notation, they are going to be a C major key as well. So if there's nothing to indicate otherwise from the G clef area here, then it's standard key. It's C major, the most common, the most sort of standard key that's used, just because of the way that pianos are laid out and have been for a long time. So if a piece of music is going to be in a key other than C major, then it will be indicated at the start of the clef here, at the start of the music, with a few sharp or flat cymbals. I almost said blunt cymbals. So we have sharp and flats, which will basically be indicated on the beginning of the stave here. I haven't really left myself any space, but you would just have, it would be on the other side, but you would have the sharp symbol, which is just like the hash or hashtag symbol, if you're into social media and Twitter. Okay, so yeah, so these notes, as I say, these are called crotchets. There's also quavers and semiquavers, and several other notes that are available. What I'll show you is just quickly how you can draw quavers and semiquavers. So what I've done to the notes here is change the crotchets into quavers. So to start off with here, these will be quavers because you can see the joining line above them. If you had a single quaver, if you had a single quaver on its own, you would do that. You would draw that instead. So you have the note and you just have a flick off the end. And if it's a semiquaver, the two flicks. But yeah, so we have two joined quavers here. This is just an easier way for drawing notation. It's just the established way for writing it. If there's two quavers or semiquavers next to each other, then you can just join them on the top. And as I say, these are semiquavers, so it has two lines. And likewise, if you had a semi-demi quaver, you would have three lines, etc., etc. So what are these notes? So this bar doesn't make sense at the moment because quavers are half the length of a crotchet. So we've only filled half the bar here because we've halved the length of these notes by turning them into quavers. So instead of being dun 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 3 4 dun 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 3 4 dun 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 3 4 1 and 2 and 3 4 1 and 2 and 3 4. So these are half the length. So there's two of these for every one beat. 1 and 2 and 3 4 1 and 2 and 3 4. And these semiquavers are again half the length of a quaver. So in a beat there would be four of these. So 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 So yeah, as I say, this bar as it is now wouldn't make sense. We would need 8 of these, as they're half the length of the crotchets, to fill the 4 beats. But I didn't leave myself any space for doing that, so sorry. Okay, yeah. So that's a few of the basic notes. So we have the regular crotchets, which are the 1 beats. We have notes which are bigger, and we have notes which are smaller. And we also have various other ways of transforming the notes into other different lengths, because obviously you don't just have notes and half notes. There are more complex rhythms than that. But we'll go on to that in the next lesson anyway. So I think I'll leave it there for the time being. So we've covered notes in written notation on the piano and on the guitar briefly. So in the next lesson we'll cover, we go into a bit more of guitar tablature, if you like. We'll cover some more information on the notes, sorry, let's just have a look at a couple of notes here. Yeah, okay. We'll cover some different notes, and I'll give you some more explanation of time signatures, and I'll give you some examples of different time signatures we can use. And then, I guess we can have a quick go at writing out some basic notation, playing it with the correct rhythm, and yeah, we'll see how that goes from there. Okay, all right. Well, it's been good to meet you. I mean, if you want to take away the basic notes, I mean, it's scribbly stuff, but just to give you a reminder of what we talked about. Yeah, that'd be cool. Take this as well. We've got there's a handful of like basic songs on here with the notation, if you want to have a look into them. No worries if you don't, but you know, I don't need this, so feel free to take that with you. Okay, well, yeah, as I say, it's been good to meet you. By all means, you know, tell some of your friends if they want to come along for a sort of a starter lesson, and I'll be able to get them, you know, up and going with music theory. But yeah, I mean, if you do come along to another lesson, that'd be great. You just send me an email, and we can get something sorted out for maybe next week. Yeah, so anyway, as I say, thank you for coming around, and I will see you soon, hopefully. All right, see you later.